Hey guys, so it's Mr. Farr. I am at Berkeley and I have the opportunity to work and learn a lot from Megan here. I'm going to let Megan talk a little bit about herself real quick, and I have a few questions that might help you regarding AP research and some of the things that you're actually doing. Megan, where are we and what do you do?
Sure. So we're in the Innovative Genomics Institute right now on UC Berkeley campus in Berkeley, California. So I am a former CRISPR researcher, and I now do communications and outreach for this group, also abbreviated the IGI. It's easier to say IGI.
It's a pretty cool place. So we just went through like a week learning. Went through a week learning all about CRISPR, and I now know about that much more about it. But what I want to ask you were a couple questions about research in general. So kind of a list here, and we'll fire away. What do you think has prepared you? What skills do you think are necessary to prepare you to do research in general?
I think just being interested in problem solving and being good at kind of critical thinking, pattern recognition, logical thinking, and planning. So
Okay.
being organized. Not every scientist is organized, but
I'm glad you say that. Students have a hard time with organization. So.
yeah, it can be helpful. I mean, I think it's helpful, if I were to be planning an experiment, to have mapped out exactly what I want to do before I start doing it, and
Okay.
to have stored all of the little things that I'm going to be testing in a way that I can find them easily, so that when it comes time to do my experiment, I don't get confused and screw something up.
So about that, let me just kind of a tangential question, but what happens when you're doing something as you planned out and then, wait a minute, that didn't work, or I have to totally like go a different direction? How have you developed ways to handle that? Because I know I did some research a long time ago in a lab and stuff, and it was hard. It kind of beat you up over time.
Yeah, it can definitely be very trying and frustrating. I definitely have a lot of memories of like being in lab late at night and trying to have all of my sample purified and having this one tube, and then at the end just dropping it on the floor by accident and the whole thing's gone.
Nice.
So that can be really demoralizing and hard to deal with. But you kind of just get used to it and learn not to expect really quick results or for things to go smoothly, and just learn how to adapt, I guess.
I think that makes sense. And one of the things I'm trying to get across here to you guys too is that although Megan works on this amazing gene editing stuff, research can apply to kind of any field too. So in general, what would you say are some of your like favorite takeaways from just doing research in general? Or even working with researchers or working in like a research facility like this?
Yeah, I think it's a good training in just how to think about the world around you, and it's nice to learn to avoid things like confirmation bias.
Talk about that. Like, what do you mean? That's something they have to learn.
Sure. So confirmation bias is basically this human phenomenon that we all fall prey to, that we all do, where if we have an idea, and to try to prove the idea to ourselves, we look for things that support what we already think. So, this applies for your political views or, anything, not just science. But one thing I learned in grad school was that the best way to really make myself believe that a conclusion was true was to try to disprove it. And when I ran out of ways to disprove it, then I convinced myself that it was real. But a lot of times people just try to see things that agree with what they already think, and they're going to miss all the things that disprove what they're thinking.
That's a big part of kind of life today a little bit, and that's a big part of why this class even exists, because college professors were saying that students are coming to college and they're really good at X, Y, Z, but like finding evidence to support a claim or being able to understand an author's viewpoint, that's where this all kind of came from too, which is kind of interesting.
Cool. I'm glad people are learning that.
Well, we're trying. I think this is kind of a tough question too, but I'm curious, like, what do you think is the role of failure when you do research? Because again, I worked in a lab for just a while, and I feel like half of what I did just failed, like every time.
Yeah.
It's hard.
I think you just have to learn to accept that it is just a regular part of doing research, and most of what you do is not really going to work out the way you want it to. But that's also, it's part of life as well. Like,
right. Trial and error.
You got to try stuff. It's not all going to work. And I think it's important to see, like, when you're in a lab, it's really a community of people, and you're all kind of trying to solve similar problems and helping each other out. And so by seeing other people failing and sharing your failures, it makes it easier to deal with.
And these students are all in a room right now. There's a small group of them, but they can all research totally different things. Some of them might be. I think one student's going to work on plant genetics they're really interested in. One student's going to work on the fashion industry in Asia and stuff. I mean, so like the room is going to be really, really different. What advice would you give? This is their first time really doing research. It's a very select group of students. What would you say, like, advice?
I think just follow what you're interested in. So, you know, maybe if you're interested in plant genetics to begin with, and then you kind of find a different topic, or maybe you think you're going to study one gene, but then you find something else that's interesting, don't be afraid to switch over. And just, if you're excited about it, you should be pursuing that, because if you start getting bored, what's the point of doing what you're doing?
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, just follow your passion.
And then let's just end on kind of what you do too. What do you feel like people, or say my students who are seniors right there, what do you think they should know about scientific research? I know scientific is a really broad topic, but it's kind of the epicenter of where you're at.
Yeah, I guess I would hope that you think it's important and can see how it's something you can do in your own life and apply research to anything that you do. Like if you're going to go on a vacation, you can research all the hotels you can stay at and the things that you can do there. And the more knowledge you have, the more prepared you are for things in the future. So I think it's empowering to do research. I also would say to trust scientists. We're really trying to do this because we're passionate about it, and I think a lot of times people say, you know, the pharma companies or the scientists doing X, Y, and Z, they just want money or they want power, or these sorts of weird things. But all the people that I know that do research are really just like a bunch of nerds that are interested in weird topics and want to explore them.
That's what it kind of felt like this week. It was a good collection of nerds that really enjoyed a certain subject and stuff too.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No problem.